The following video will be about Yahoo email, and I'm going to get to the point with it. mail.yahoo.com/d/settings/13 # or no #, either one will work. You might need to use the # depending on your browser. You will see on the screen on the lower left, switch to basic mail. The reason you're watching this video is to do that because I'm going to make sure the title makes it clear that you're doing this. This means you're giving up a bunch of features, but it'll run faster and it won't complain that you're using a browser that's too old. Let's get it done. When you do that, if you click that, it'll say, "Oh no, we will miss you. Please tell us why you want to use basic mail." And it has a place for your feedback. Do none of that. Literally, it's booby-trapped to where if you accidentally hit a certain key or something, it'll just close the window and aggravate you. It brings up a second copy of the switch to basic mail function. Select it. This will change a setting throughout Yahoo so that it will no longer try to put up the enhanced interface. Now I'm going to bring up the next stage. Basic mail. The old version of Yahoo Mail may be placed behind a paywall. Why would you want to use it? You're going to make this a premium feature someday, or maybe we're going to prevent that. So, if we switch to basic mail in protest to them making us use, what happened this week is they altered the way it works to where it makes it to where no browser's new enough, and a lot of people are complaining about it. It also put in intrusive stuff and you opted in for a bunch of crap you didn't ask for. So if we do this in protest, this would cause a speed boost. It would make it almost impossible for them to use this older interface to do anything to us. And the last time they pulled this shit, which was actually a pretty long period of time ago, all of us made it to where our bookmarks, our links, included a little statement to them. Now I want to point out that the reason Yahoo is used by a lot of us who are older is that Yahoo email, the old version, emulates very nicely Outlook Express that used to come with every computer. It's a default piece of software. It was responsible for an amazingly large number of catastrophes as far as the internet. And, of course, the user interface in it was not Microsoft's doing it, someone else's, and they bought it, and it worked well enough. Now, the reason for this kind of familiarity equals preference transferring over to Yahoo Mail is Yahoo Mail was essentially made as a duplicate of it. So most of you don't even use Outlook Express or Outlook or any derivative or any of the other programs Microsoft has come up with to try to bury that Outlook Express, except for the viruses, was actually a decent user interface that it's the same as every other email system. Now, Yahoo, basically using that as a pattern like everybody else did, meant that Yahoo is just email. No one uses Yahoo to look up things. Yahoo used to be the preeminent search engine, and now it's just basically carrying water for Google. In fact, this latest thing makes it to where it really wants to integrate Google into things. help.yahoo.com KB, that's knowledge base, SLN36643.htm, # or hashtag, CONT3. That should be the link that would pop open the part where it explains how you can go through this process of just changing it over to being the most basic email interface possible, which means you're missing a bunch of features that some of you might have gotten used to if you use Yahoo email. But by doing this, we resist. By doing this, especially what I'm going to tell you next, we tell them no. The last time this happened, when they did a major overhaul where they went through and basically opted everybody in and then immediately told us your browser isn't good enough, is we found a way to switch back to the oldest interface possible because for a specific set of reasons that I'm not going to go into, they have to provide it. Because the only thing keeping the thing running is that underneath the hood is that version that's extremely ripped down, torn down, and simplified. It's extremely basic communication. And they hate it because they wrote it in such a way that they can't even stick in ads. They can't monetize anything. They can't exploit anything. There's no revenue. So let's go on. Basic Mail is a simpler version of Yahoo Mail when you can't use the full featured experience or don't want to. Translation. It's stripped down and faster. It doesn't crash as often. It has less bullshit. It doesn't spy on you. You may be automatically switched based on your system's preferences, settings, operating system, browser. Or you can choose to switch on your own to either the newer or the older version. There are currently 3 versions. We're only going to talk about using the least feature-rich version because if you're watching this video, you're already wanting to do it. Sign into Yahoo Mail. Then in the upper right corner, look for and click Go Back to Old Yahoo Mail. That would be nice if that was really there, but they bury it because they know that people are going to do that whenever they do one of these changes. People who do Yahoo, in many cases, are older people. If you're using the new Yahoo Mail, they're not specifying which one of the 3 versions. There's technically 4, but there's 3. Yes, there's a Japanese version that's made for DOS, but we won't bring that up. I already did a video on that. If you're using the new Yahoo Mail, look for the More option triple dot icon. They don't tell you in the instructions that it's in the lower left of the screen someplace, or other, depending on your browser. Select the Settings gear icon. Near the bottom left, click Switch to Basic Mail. You'll have to scroll to find it. They deliberately put it in a position where when you look at it, if you're a technician, you might notice this, where it's not an easily bookmarked button to go link to. The rest of them are. They all lead to either a separate page or a separate part of the page with an anchor. This thing uses a JavaScript hidden code that apparently cycles around and changes so that we can't just give you, here's the link to click to turn this shit off. So let's move on. You can switch to Basic Mail, click Switch to Basic Mail again to confirm. If you're using classic version of Yahoo Mail, meaning it shouldn't be doing anything new, click the Settings gear icon, select More Settings. Near the bottom left, click Switch to Basic Mail, click it again, and confirm. You notice those instructions, the way they're written up. Okay, now let's go back to what you actually do. The link is mail.yahoo.com/d/settings/13 hashtag or pound sign, or not with a pound sign, whichever one works. I'm just going to include the one without a pound sign because then YouTube's description area won't freak out because it'll do that depending on your browser now. That's another video for later. Look for the Switch to Basic Mail part at the bottom. And the reason I include that number 13, that's actually a anchor point in a weird way, is then it makes it to where it's visible. Sometimes it isn't. And again, it brings up a complaint. Oh no, we'll miss you. Miss me doing what? Not being heckled? Not having extra features that really aren't needed? So, when you switch back to Basic Mail, what do you get? A really old Outlook Express type interface or whatever? Something that works quickly, something that has almost no ability to throw ads in your face, work around your ad block, or really do any damn thing to you. The last time this happened was so long ago, I actually forgot how long ago it was they pulled this kind of bullshit. The extremely basic Yahoo Mail interface is there for a very odd reason. In many countries, it's still used on text-based non-smartphones. Yeah, that's the reason. There used to be a DOS-based web browser put out by Yahoo, too. I had a video up on it. It's up somewhere. I had to rename it so YouTube would stop flagging things. But the point is, they are still working with extremely legacy methods because in some countries like Japan, no businessman in Japan trusts any kind of smartphone with any secure data. They want a dumb interface because the dumb interface emphasizes all the code it's running just to encrypt the shit out of things, just to keep people out of your business. No one trusts corporations in Japan. I don't know why we do, but they don't. So this old version of Yahoo may be placed behind a firewall, yet they're trying to make sure, whether you argue or not, that you switch to the newest version for free. And again, that's mail.yahoo.com/d/settings /13 $, or not $. Now I'm going to go into what you can do for your link to Yahoo. Here we go. mail.yahoo.com /b/ decimal pointer period src, that means source, equals ym Yahoo Mail. That means we're going through yahoo.com and specifying Yahoo Mail. And then ampersand reason code. Every time they do this, they use a way of communicating what people did and how they got there, blah, 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 to monitor our behavior. But it's a free-form statement after the equal sign. Normally it will say unsupported browser, which is what it will probably do when you go to it. Or MYC, which I haven't really interpreted yet and I don't care. However, you're allowed to make a bookmark that says, go to hell, I want basic email. Or anything else you want to put in. I recommend, something like that. As it said, switch to basic mail. I want basic email. Go to hell. Something like that. And that means their server, every time you click that link, it sees that you told them to go fuck themselves. They're going to count that. The last time they pulled this crap, it was years ago, they were threatening to make it to where you couldn't use it unless you used not only a different browser, a newer browser, a specific browser, by the way, and you had to use a specific operating system, which everyone said hell no to, especially all of the people still using, text messaging-based old-style cell phones that are so antiquated, people don't hack them. I repeat myself. Your old Nokia phone, one of the indestructible phone meme, one of the peculiarities about them is people have forgotten how to break into them. And you'd be surprised, maybe you shouldn't be surprised, how many Japanese businessmen are really willing to run a command line, literal MS-DOS version of an email program using AOL for DOS and using Yahoo email for DOS. So yeah, the reason this is around isn't because it's a legacy item and we're going to put it behind a paywall. It's because their shit runs on it, because if you're not aware of it, most of the internet runs on top of Linux or Unix, and it's a command line based system. But also, as a peculiarity, Yahoo runs on DOS prompt based code all over the planet because it's used for bank machines. A lot of them. Because many countries made it illegal to upgrade the hardware because nobody was able to break into it, and they're like, wow, we're not changing it. Why? Because it's a read-only thing. It is not able to be reprogrammed. You can't infect it with a virus. Our bank machines are secure. And every time somebody tries to change that, they're like, can you make it impossible to break into? No. And that's why when you go to some countries, everything runs really, really fast, but it's all clunky-looking shit, like it looks like the Soviet Union made it out of tubes and diesel engines. Some of the stuff even looks diesel punk. And a lot of this stuff can be found some places in Japan. Look for, I think they're called pachinko machines. You'll see those right there. Anyway, let's repeat that URL. To get into the settings that it's obviously trying to hide, to switch to basic mail, mail.yahoo.com /d/settings /13. 12 will also work. It just makes it to where you can get to the bottom of the list of anchors, to where you can see it at the bottom left, and click that button and turn off the bullshit. And it will always want to turn it back on. But this is an overt opt-out that I haven't had to do in so long I forgot the last time I had to do it. Last time we had to do it, we all made these bookmarks that said, go to hell, I want basic email, or whatever, support this browser, whatever. And they included a reason code. They keep doing that. It's stupid. They're going to get a protest vote. So the old version of Yahoo Mail eventually will be placed behind a paywall. That's what they said the last time. Because it works efficiently, they don't make any money off of it. It's a loss leader that they're not getting anything out of, so it's no longer a loss leader. All they would have to do is show ads on the Yahoo webpage interface, like they did in the old days, that were unobtrusive, and just leave us alone and let us check our email and do our shit. And they want it to be very intrusive, and they want it to be much more busy, and they want it to require the latest operating system and the latest browser instead of shit that would work in a command line in DOS. That was my rant. This is Old Man yelling at a cloud. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. You'll definitely need it.